I think a lot of people are can be sort of not frightened, but a little uncomfortable with what I do, both in painting and in the sculptural pieces, because they have to confront themselves. I do hope that you walk away with, maybe you're not realizing it immediately, but that it touches you somehow. Somehow you're seeing yourself in my work. That's what it's about. I came back from France to help with my father and his cancer, and when he died, I photographed him. I was really surprised about how cold and waxy he felt. I returned back to Paris and I painted for a couple more years, and then it just stopped, and I started working in wax. The reason I gravitated towards wax was it had the feel of human skin to me, and it has a history of being used for example, effigies and magic, and those are things that I'm very interested in, both death and magic. I have read that wax is considered like the life cycle of a human being because it is organic. It does come from bees. There's a life cycle, and it starts and then it ends. It lives, it breathes. Unlike silicone, for me, which seems to be a very static medium, wax, I don't know, it lives. Like the old horror films, I think one of the reasons that people are so uneasy around wax figures is that it has a reputation and it has a history of dealing with effigies. The church would, when someone would die, they would do an effigy of that person in wax. With that, along with then the chambers of horror that we know from Madame Tussauds and the wax museums, dealing with the decapitations of the French Revolution and actually, apparently casting off of the dead people off of their heads. I think that people, without realizing it, look at figures and it sort of frightens them because they're looking at death, they're looking at magic, and they may not even be aware of it. And then, then you have Vincent Price. If it's a good cast, you really connect and you get a bit of that person's soul. And if you're really lucky, you might get a nose hair stuck in the plaster, so you get a little piece of DNA from them also. So that's always an extra plus. What I'm seeing with the people that I'm casting is something I find remarkable, and something that ties in with me getting a part of their soul is they tend to get really trippy being in the alginate for like 20 minutes. If I'm feeling a little sadistic, maybe a half an hour. And I think because it's like a deprivation tank for them. They can't speak, they can't hear. And all they can do is breathe, and they're in total darkness. So they're vulnerable, and they are themselves. They can be nothing else. They can't be wearing a mask. They can't perform. Sometimes at night, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and things will be clunking around in the other room where the wax figures are. My cat will freak out. God, I sound like a old crazy cat lady.
You sounded that way the whole time. Don't worry about it.
It's a love affair with wax. I've given up everything to do this.